Oh, yeah.
All right, we should be good again.
I heard you.
Yep. All right.
Alrighty.
Professionalism.
Yes. Super professional switch. Twitch stream.
Okay, look over this way, Curtis.
Okay. I have that camera look at too.
Good shot. Chip, take your hand away from your ear. Okay, one more. Good shot.
All right.
Alright, over here. Alright. We'll be upstairs.
All right. Everything look okay now?
Well, I was the first hand. I'll be quiet.
Okay. Alright, I'm going upstairs. Alright, good luck.
Thank you. Jonathan, does it look good? This is a guy local in my community.
Jackman's towards your area.
He plays with us, yeah. He lives about half hour south of us and plays in my community. Well, he's not responding, so that's not a good sign.
Did it keel over on us? No, it's still going.
Yep.
You're just not paying attention.
Oh well.
We got turkey hangover.
Yeah.
Alright, so before we begin the match, fair hand. What actually makes the deck tick? If you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
So, the interesting aspect is you have a couple matchup specific cards that always give you an out to what your opponent is doing. And that's with Dysania and Mimicry. You also have Seismont Angler, which can limit some decks, although it's more of a stall. But the thing that really makes this deck work is everything that lets you draw cards. And we talked a little last night, but you know the term zoomies. The actual origin of it is Dave Cordero had a deck, and he messaged me one day and said, this deck is 41-0, and I can't figure out why it's working all the time. And after looking at the deck and going through it, what actually happens is when you have enough draw effects, you enter a point that it becomes statistically likely that you're going to play more cards on that turn.
Mm-hmm.
So zoomies just means that you have a bunch of cards that draw together.
Sure.
But the real thing is called rule of two. So when you're playing cards that get you more than two,
Mm-hmm.
it goes from a statistical
to draw or to
anything
into the deck.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So you go from an unlikely to occur event. So if you draw one card, you got a 33% chance that you play a house.
Yeah.
If you draw two cards, you have somewhere around a 55% chance.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have enough cards that have two effects, like these,
Mm-hmm.
you're statistically likely to get another card in the house, which creates this snowball effect.
Sure.
So you can chain the Igors with the Vapors, and all of a sudden you're halfway through your deck before
for
things
sure.
happen. And what that means is that you can almost bypass your entire Shadows house. Or you can only play the Untamed when you want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
So that statistical likelihood, when you have enough of them, all of a sudden it's in your favor.
Sure.
And when
Kowtow allows me to pull or dump a card so I could draw more.
Which means at the end of the turn, you're even more likely to be able to play a house you want to play the next turn.
Yeah.
So that means that you take one or two Shadows turns a game, and you can take a 2-card Locos turn and still end up playing 4 cards.
Sure.
So that's what's actually making this deck work. It's all these 2 effects. and then you can chain into whatever you want and have your matchup specific control cards come up when you need them. So that means planning against this deck is a pain in the butt. So standard Coda Rush, bunch of ambers, bunch of kill spells, then stealing, stop keys, more amber, more stealing. Now the problem is, any good rush deck is going to have a key cheat. And you can't give a key cheat to a deck that's comboing out, because then it just uses it against you.
It becomes your best card,
So
for me at least.
I didn't want to use a standard rush deck, because then it becomes just a cat and mouse game of who gets there. I didn't want to use my best deck, because the controlling cards are mark a disc,
Can come back to you. Yeah.
and then they can come back to me.
Exactly.
So even though this deck can do a lot of damage with all the amber and
It is a
all the
market
draw, what will happen is eventually you'll just mark a disc me
And draw 2 cards apparently.
and then draw 2 cards with it. So if your creatures were bigger in that deck, it'd be fine, because then I could force you into the house.
Yeah.
But all the important creatures are too powerful. So then we have a Disruption Helms deck with a bunch of stealth modes. This is pretty good against Mimicry. The problem is, if you start to use it against me, I
You
can't
also have
use
a lot of actions.
my actions.
Yeah.
And Infernus is pretty good at you, because then it can pick out your creatures that you combo with.
It'll hit my logo stuff mostly.
I would actually aim for your Untamed stuff.
You have usually a really small window to hit that, if any at all. So I usually play it and then flip.
Yeah, but I would still go for the Untamed stuff,
Yeah,
because you're
sure,
going
I
to be
understand
loading
that,
it into
yeah.
I4.
That's really hard usually.
And then once again, the problem is
You have a lot of disruption and key cheats. Yep.
you can't
So
give a
that
key
hit.
cheat to a deck that's comboing out.
Yeah.
So next is another Zoomies deck with a bunch of card draw. I think
God.
Punctuated Equilibrium is actually
That's
good
an
against you,
interesting choice,
because
yeah.
then you don't get to see your houses in an unfair order. You have to take a Shadow's turn.
Yeah.
So it tries to balance it out. Now, with all these draw effects, we're pretty much just, whoever does their game plan
Fastest.
is the one that gets it off. So rather than just take a 50-50 type matchup, I'd rather have something a little bit more interesting. So this deck features an Ultra Graviton. And while you have Dysania,
Yeah.
I'm okay giving you some amber with this deck, because it features 2 Effervescent Principles, Titan Engineers.
Good counters to that.
It does have a Punctuated Equilibrium,
Yeah.
Key Frog. Has an interesting commune with Key Frog,
Hmm.
where it has the 3 damage pips.
Yeah, so you can kill the key frog really easily.
And then it has a bunch of stealing with One Last Job, so eventually my Shadows creatures in this deck go away. And Stolen Amber is amber you can't deal with.
Correct.
So Bolt's Blessing is also a positive in this matchup, because
no mutants. Yeah, no mutants.
I think you have no
oh,
mutants.
I have Dysania.
Ah,
So
so-
basically no mutants.
So this deck was way up there on my list, but I just didn't feel like playing this one.
Okay. Sorry, deck. You just didn't make the cut.
Yeah. On the other hand, I have a AOA deck which features a bunch of fighting and splash damage. Everything right here, nothing lives in your deck.
Correct. Which
Then
I
we have
just
the-
dealt with it against Zach as well.
Yes. Now,
So that's
it does
like
have a
the
bunch of
really
creatures that
interesting.
stick,
Yeah.
but the problem is here.
Yeah. How's it going, Mortivus? Oh, yeah, generosity.
Martian Generosity.
Yes, I would
With
love to do
with
that
a
one of these
matchup
days.
specific card.
Yeah.
Now, in a best of 3, that means at least one of the games I'm intentionally giving you a Martian Generosity and you're just going to draw your whole deck.
Yep.
And if I did not combo out myself,
You're in trouble at that point.
then it's giving you a win. So this deck also features Hypnotic Command. And you have to play creatures in your deck.
Yes.
So if I combo out, I'm in an advantage that I have everything I want, and I can draw all the cards I want, and capture all your amber.
Yeah.
So
That'd be
I would
interesting.
generally want to win on board with this deck versus your deck, but it's a tight timing window
In the
in the Martian
you have to
Generosity.
get the advantage on generosity before I come back and get that also advantage.
Yes, but you also can't control my amber really,
No.
which means that I get to set up the Martian Generosity on my terms.
Correct. Yeah.
But there are two other options. So this one is actually probably the better matchup against you.
All right.
Zenny.
Zenzi is a
You
problem.
can't do anything with Zenny. Bolt, Vapors, Group Think Tank, that can easily nuke your board. Daughter, Remote Access to prevent you from reaping. And Hologramophone. But here is the interesting set.
Especially these. That's a problem.
Yes.
And that I can't deal with.
You
that.
cannot deal with Scudum outside of cards in my own deck.
Correct. Yeah.
And then I can also capture across everything.
All kinds of amber. Good
And
gracious.
this,
Yeah, Hysteria, Double Infernus is a problem. Well, Anderson, good gracious.
so
I
this
don't
is
have a deck at the end of the game.
so generally once a cycle, this deck can purge about 8 cards, give or take. And it gets it early enough that the Igors would chew up your deck.
Yeah.
And the only way you have to beat the Primus Ungus once he goes off is my Hysteria or the Unnatural Selection.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the cards are just the follow-up sets for don't do much in the match. But once they're on the board, they're reaping.
Yeah,
And I
still
win.
getting you some value.
The problem with this deck is that it's easier to counter this deck. And it's not enough of a difference that I would go, yes, I want to use this deck over one that I think has more plays against more decks.
Okay.
And if you would like the cheat sheet for the English,
Yes, the English. So I don't know whatever language this deck is in.
yes, this one is Italian.
An Italian deck.
Now, as odd as it sounds, I'm actually taking a creature deck against a deck that has a bunch of no reap effects. Because your creature control is very limited. It's basically the 2 Twin Bolts and the Unnatural Selection. And there's
That's
a lovely
lot of creatures. You just
10
call
Dino
Saurian
sets.
and just
Yep.
turn sideways.
There's also some tempo cards.
That's good. And look, if you hit the right card with that one, like it's devastating.
Yep. So there are some tempo cards in this deck which cause some disruption. And then there's Amber and Amber Control. More creatures to deal with. Creature Control, and Pincerator is pretty good against you.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Brabble.
Pincerator
To
both
go with it.
sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's both sides every turn.
Okay.
And then we have some Shadows, Steely Pingy, damage type
And
stuff.
Red Penny is a problem because I can't. You
Yes.
just keep throwing her back in your deck.
And anything stolen from you is amber that you can't deal with later outside of Eddie. So I feel more comfortable on this deck than KI. And the story on this deck is Dave went shopping for an Italian deck, and I flipped through the ones that the guy had for sale, and I just saw 2 rares I didn't own.
Oh, so you bought it.
And at the time, SAS was not updated for capturing Amphora Captura correctly.
Yeah.
So it was in the low 70s, I think, like a 71, 70. And 25 euros. The deck was 4-0 with no chains, which means that he won like a store championship or something with it.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what, let's try it. Dave gets the deck. It sits in his house for, 4 months, 3 months or so.
Unplayed, just sitting there.
Yeah, and I just said, hey Dave, I want to try out that deck. What's the icons? And every single icon, there was only 1 or 2 of them that I would change in the deck.
Interesting.
The only thing I would move is the draw icon to the rat penny.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would double up on is the damage icon on the pandemonium.
Yeah.
It
Damage yourself,
it
or
already
no
has
damage
1.
me, so you can't. I don't capture your amber.
Yeah, and it already has 1. So all the icons fell into amazing positions. So, little atypical to go for a deck that can be countered by 3 of your cards specifically, but if you're taking a Shadow's turn to Inky Gloomy, that's giving me an advantage.
Yeah.
So I'm perfectly okay with you trying to Inky Gloom me, because I can set up some of the other turns.
Tracker and gravel. Giant cable giant, yeah. There's 2 Octavias. Interesting. So this set I know well enough that I will try not to look at these.
If you need to look at it just to figure out which card says what, feel free to. At events with a foreign language deck, I'm used to just having it open on the app and then asking which card they need to read and opening it up, so feel free.
I know this set well enough, I should be fine. I will find out. Look, I already won game 1. Perfect. Off to a good start.
Just flip the keys, ready to go.
Yep, perfect. Alright, let me shuffle real quick.
But I do think those last 3 decks that I showed,
Mm-hmm.
the difference between them is mostly just play style.
Interesting.
Outside of KI, which feels a little bit more like it's the one in control, because it's disrupting what you typically want to.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if the Zenny comes early.
Yeah, I don't have a way to deal with that. It would be very, very difficult.
Which made me think I also have a triple Zenny deck.
Oh, good gracious. Well, though, you're only going to get one of them every turn.
It's still a lot of
But
card
you can
advantage.
still move that center really easily.
Yeah. But that deck is even easier to pick apart than some of these other decks.
Thanks, Jonathan. So this is the edge of your camera,
Yes.
right? Okay. A little bit more center then.
Yeah, there's Dave, Mentor Borsing. So, when we were figuring out what Zoomies decks were, and believe it or not, the term Zoomies came from me,
Okay.
and we didn't release that information to the public for 9 months. I happened to look up Zenny, and Z was selling a triple Zenny deck, and he didn't want it because it was Worlds Collide with Grobnar. The thing is, there's something like 12 or 13 cards that draw cards or archive cards,
You just don't
It-
play a Brobnar at that point.
You eventually want to play your Brobnar because it is so many creatures and it has so many ready fight effects that it does eventually just
Becomes
say,
very valuable.
hey, I got 7 creatures on the board, this is a key each turn.
Yeah.
If you don't board wipe me, I'm going to win.
Interesting.
But Mentor is a very matchup easy deck to play against. You have 4 board wipes.
Oh, which I don't. I have
So,
kind of one.
alright, even or odd?
I'm gonna go with odd. Oh,
Alright,
okay.
so I'm first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, best of luck to you.
Yep, here. I mulligan. Mulliganing. That's not what I
No.
want early in this game.
No logos cards.
Not
It,
the ones I want
yeah.
at first.
So how many games do you play?
Best of 3.
Best of 3. Hopefully 3. 'Cause that makes for exciting content.
I guess I'll keep.
Is that like on screen? Is that why you're holding him out there?
Just enough to keep it on screen, yeah.
Gotcha. That looks uncomfortable.
I'll be fine. I've done worse.
Thank you. Predictions, anybody on who wins?
You won the first one.
Nobody yet.
This is the first one.
This is the first one.
We are starting the game. Interesting.
Alright, open with Faust. This is the back order.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Yeah. I will quit taking up so much room then. I'll just have my deck off screen. That's fine. I will play Untamed. Play Feathered Shaman.
That's a good start, people.
Yeah. Flaxia.
Yep.
Neither hand is what I wanted, but it's gonna be fine. Fogbank. So you cannot fight.
That's a real good start,
Draw
people.
4, yeah. It's your turn.
Alright.
Not what I wanted to see.
Here's what this deck is good at. We have an Octavia with the damage.
Mm-hmm.
We have Amphora Captura. We'll capture
good start.
onto Octavia. Damage the Shaman.
Okay.
And draw a card. And then Wear the Ides on Flaxia.
Slight
Reap with
overkill.
Faust.
Three to 2. How are we getting 5 games in?
And then draw 2.
Alrighty, this is much a better hand. I will say Logos. Play an Igor. Discard Inky Gloom, discard Simon. Play a Tao Tao. I guess this is, I'll play a Tao Tao on screen so you guys can see it.
You're on screen back there, just so you know.
Is this the edge, or
No.
I thought this?
No.
Yeah. So it's partially cut off. So I'm gonna archive this card. Play a Daughter. And I will draw 2 cards because of Daughter and go to 7 cards.
going to go Shadows. Going to play the Elusive Mutant. Vandalize. So look at the top 3 of your deck. Discard 1 and reorder the other 2. Alright, this is where we want to hit key charge, people.
Yep, that's a good one to hit too.
Yep.
Which creature is that?
That is all mutants are elusive. Shadowsmith, I believe, is the English.
Elusive, that's right. Okay.
And Pincerator,
Oh boy.
capturing onto Octavia. And now the damage begins.
How easy are these to see on Twitch? Hidden Stash was discarded
Yep.
from that. Or would you guys prefer I use other damage? I guess we don't have any other damage. So you get this damage. That'll be fine.
Alright.
Perfect. Alrighty then. I will play Shadows.
The board shift card length up or up.
Card length up.
I don't know if he's saying this way or
You want us to move it that way towards Pixie. So you want us to go that way.
alright.
Better.
No, they can only see half of your deck.
Yeah.
Did it zoom in weird?
No, I had it off
Interesting.
screen. So is it cutting off? You can go back to the.
Okay. So you're good now.
Alright. Perfect. So I'm saying Shadows. I will hawk the Captura. And there's no actual. That's that. And then I will Kymor. So you guys wanted to see the super interesting blue sleeves that have no other information on them.
Just means you like mint.
Yes. And I will Pestering Blow. And Inky Gloom, so you cannot reap.
Alright.
So check at 6, draw 3.
Let's go Histocog, Lycophene, Rabble, Inspector, Waking Nightmare. And we would have 1 from the Pincerator.
Yeah, okay,
So
fine,
keys
yeah.
cost
Yeah.
+4
Okay.
at the start of your turn. And Pincerator pinches
Pinch, pinch,
and
pinch,
draw
pinch.
5. So this is where I was saying the Inky Gloom turns aren't the worst for me.
Yeah. I also got other stuff that I got to move my deck forward with, so that's helpful. So I will say Logos, Wild Wormhole, for, ooh, that's not good.
Great.
That's not what I wanted to see. I think they actually 23 power thing is. I forget the name of it.
Well, where are the odds?
So I'm gonna play Igor. Discard hit and run. Discard regrowth. Play Dysania. Play Igor. Discard Yancey again, discard Hidden Stash. Igor. Discard Mermoot, discard Fogbank. Play Eddie. And archive this card.
He doesn't like to archive shadows, and I know he should have 2 shadows in his hands from the Vandalize.
Then I will Twin Bolt. I will deal 2 damage to Hystricog. Two damage to Dysenia. Not gonna. I make you work to kill everything else that's on your side of the board.
Alright. End of your turn, you will draw up. Inspector will pop something.
So 1/1.
Rabble will pop 3. This is the nice part about Pincerator against the deck, where it can limit some of the Logos creatures. And Purged post Pixies.
I think you have a lot of. Where is
I do have a lot of capture, so.
Where did my deck list go?
Put it off to the paper side.
I don't know. I had it. It's here somewhere.
No.
I'm just gonna put it in the box for now.
Alright.
We'll find it here in a little bit. I don't know. Interesting.
Is it under that table?
No.
No. Alright.
Is it in mint?
No, it's in a clear sleeve.
No. Somehow it ended up,
You purged my deck list?
apparently, under mine.
That's one way to get rid of my deck.
Yeah.
Not legal. And I also say check. Yep. Thank you, Jonathan.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Dinos. Senator Shrix. Steal 1. Ludo. Consul Primus. And that is my turn. So Pincherator will pinch. Draw 3. And pass turn.
I will say logos. I'll play Seismo Entangler. Very good.
Yeah, I'm just making it so it doesn't cut out.
Gotcha.
There we go.
Alright, so I played Seismo Entangler. I will play Twin Bolt and 2 damage to Ludo, 2 damage to Trix. And I'll play Daughter. Lysania is gonna fight Ludo. Igor is gonna fight Trix.
Yeah, Ember.
I get the Ember back, yeah. And then I will reap. And reap. Ready to pinch, but I'll draw 5 first. Okay, I'll just pinch and then I'll shuffle and draw. Shuffle, draw 2 more. Check it 9.
Alright. So I'll go this.
Mm-hmm.
Dominator Bobble.
Draw 1, 2.
Reap and reap. Double Doom on Daughter. Then Explosion, 2 damage icons, then sack the Fiend to steal 1.
I'd like to see that. So you steal 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Then pinching happens. Check with 10.
So 4 for
Draw
6.
3. Archive is just 2 cards.
Right now, yeah.
Yep.
Say logos. Tau, draw 2, archive 1. Play an Igor. Pestering Blow. Discard Twin Bolt. Play Daughter. Draw 1. Oh.
Then we pinch. I'll forward for 6.
Mm-hmm.
I will go Shadows, sack of coins with an extra amber. Everything dies. I will play a Rad Penny. Steal 1. I will play a Tempting Offer with a damage pip. Pop my own red penny. Shuffle her in. Did I get that amber? I started with 4, sack of coins, red penny, yes. And then I will play an asp. Shuffle up, and then draw 4. And check with 8. So this deck doesn't have a lot of printed amber. It's 13, I think, but it does somehow just generate a ton of it.
They see that.
Now, folks, don't be confused. He can easily get a key, so.
No, I'm in dire straits, I say. Actually, not in great position.
No, at this point, Fairhand wants to have 6 archived or already have had an untamed combo turn.
I will say untamed. Regrowth. Get Eddie. Fog banks, you cannot fight. Next turn. Fog bank again. And then I'll kill your ass.
And Forge for 7. Alright, I'm going to go Dis. I'm going to play an Amber Dark Minion. Kill my ass. Play a Wrecker and play a Pandemonium with a damage icon to ping the Mystic Marmook. Just yeah, for the Pincerator, yeah. Pinch happens, 1 to Dark Minion. 1, 2, 3. Should just be 3.
Plus my Pincerator for my turn.
Oh yes, yeah, we missed yours. Yeah. All right, draw 3.
Say Logos. Card hidden stash. Discard Flaxia. Play Eddie. Archive this. Cannot read with this. Draw 2.
Pinch.
Yep.
All right, Shadows. Going to play Shadowsmith. Red penny to seal 1. Finishing blow to kill Eddie and steal 1. control up, and then pinch. Just shuffle in. Igor will die. And check.
Yeah, I stay on Tang and then pick up an archive. Harmonia, get one.
Mm-hmm.
Mimicry for that card. Kill Bravo. Steal one. Get an Amber. Regrowth. 4. I don't think it matters here, but Flaxia. Play Unnatural Selection. Check it 9. Draw 0.
This is ready. And Eddie is in the discard.
Yes. Somewhere in here. Right there.
Eddie and Mimicry are both in Mr. Marmook. Alright, so I will go Shadows. I will reap with the Shadowsmith. I'll play Bone Rot Venom on Flaxia. Play a Mutant. And pass.
2, 3, 4,
Check.
6.
Now the scary thing is he could potentially still have a key charge option somewhere in there. No.
Not when I have a handful of shadows.
So this very small disruption cards from time to time do enough to help against the archives.
Oh yeah.
Because I hit the hidden stash on the Vandalize.
I think that was what makes shadows worth going into.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is game one, folks. Pixie, the cleaner of the palace.
Not
It
as
was up 1.
bad as it looked for a little bit. I still think I was pretty far out for the game for a little bit, for a while in that game.
Yes, and the thing that was potentially strange was you being able to deal with my board, but you chose to deal with it by fighting with Logos rather than the Reaping.
Sure, but you had Ludo and
Yes.
Shrix, which would have been a drain that I would never have gotten back.
Yeah.
So I needed to deal with them.
So that was probably more the uncharacteristic aspect for both of these decks against each other.
Yeah. You'd have Pincerator. Well, I don't reap a lot usually. Pincerator doesn't give me the option to, because all my stuff is so small.
It basically, when it's out, takes away your ability to just say, I took a big turn that's normally difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And this deck has 9 damage icons, so all the small guys eventually just get pinged out.
Yep. That they do.
And the other aspect of this deck is, even though you burn the Amphora, it doesn't care. It's not dependent on its artifacts to do the job.
Yeah. Pincerator helped me keep your board in control a little bit too, though.
But I'm used to that when playing this deck.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if killing Pincerator there, so I keep my creatures, but then you have a ton of creatures that I can't deal with.
yeah.
I don't know.
Leaving the Amphora allows me to Amber control
At
you.
will capture,
Yeah.
yeah, which I don't want either.
So
Yeah, that's what I was debating, Jonathan.
yep. So
I still think I'm still leaning towards capture is the right answer. It's got no value. I usually get a little bit of value out of my shadows.
and if you do play your Shadows creatures against me, they're dead. Like
Yeah. I just ended up with shadows I couldn't play, basically, which was a bad time to have shadows in my hand. If I didn't need to stop you or deal with your board, I could have just dropped them and I'd have been in a better spot.
yeah, your Shadows is better when I have my dinos out,
Yep.
because then you get a free Inky Gloom.
I'll go first.
4, 5, 6.
Interesting. I'll keep my hand.
I'll keep.
Play shadows, play hidden stash. Much better start.
That is a good opening for him,
No, it's much better.
because that means he has one less Shadows turn to take, and generally pulls a Untamed card. Alright, I'm going to play Shrix. That's how I play that is. I'm going to play Centurion. I'm going to play Shrix and pop his armor.
Okay.
I'm going to play Octavia and pop his armor. I'm going to play Amphora, capture, capture, draw. I'm going to play Faust. And this is what happens
Oh, that's an
with the
opener.
creature deck. When you have generally 9 creatures in a house, turns like this are not uncommon. And they can be very scary, especially early in the game.
That's a good opening. This is where I need to magically wild wormhole Inky Gloom. Say Logos. Discard Fogbank, discard Igor. Telltale. wormhole for Libras. Which isn't terrible.
That's actually pretty good
It's
for you.
not terrible here because that's sitting
The
in there.
bad Igor hit turned into a good Igor hit.
Yep. Play Igor. Let's go Twin Bolt. And Igor. This card hitting around this card. String Blow.
Alright, big turns for big turns.
5, so draw 2. Your turn.
It's hard not just to take the Dino's turn here.
Yeah.
So,
That's probably what I would do.
that's a tough call. So, both senators are going to reap.
I just swapped out the Ember.
You're fine. Thero is going to fight the Igor. Octavia is going to fight an Igor. Faust is going to reap. And play another Octavia. Draw 1.
We're in trouble. I'll say Shadows, like Inky Gloom. With Selwyn, which that card was anything else. Hidden Stash. Draw 4. Cannot read.
So this is where the creature deck versus the can't reap is not ideal, but
Forge a key.
I do forge. So I will take a...
Yes, Jonathan. I think I stacked his deck for him when I shuffled it. Yes, he's not played a single action.
I did have a draw icon and it hit another Dino's there, so
Really good.
I am going to call this since I can't reap. I'm going to play a dark minion with an amber. I am going to double doom Swin. What is it, Swindon?
Selwyn?
Yeah.
This one?
While that's going on, Implosion with 2 damage icons, damage, sacrifice, which triggers damage. Inky Gloom. And play Cinder and Inspector. Draw 5.
Crazy enough, I would love to take another Shadow's turn right here. If I had that Inky Gleam, I probably would.
Yeah. I don't hate that it got discarded,
Yeah.
because it means that if you have your unnatural selection, you have to use it early, as opposed to using another Shadow's turn just to filter.
I will say on team to pick up my archive, which is unfortunate. Harmonia. Fog Bank. Regrowth. Go with Pixies. You have lots of ways to do that.
Still better than not having it.
Yep. Kill Faust. And Amber. Pixies. Galaxia, which is real bad. And then I will Mimicry. Explosion. She's one.
2 damage icons.
2 damage icons to what's in here. I'll do 2 damage to this or this Shrix. I mean, I will kill Flaxia and I'll kill Shrix.
Check with 10.
10.
Let's go shadows. Before I do anything else, I'm going to tempting offer to do a damage to post pixies to bounce the Harmonia, and you will get an amber. I'm going to play Brad Penny, deal 1. I'm going to play Sack of Coins to capture. Yeah, I'm gonna capture onto Cinder and actually damage Octavia. Deal 1, 2, 3, and 1.
Okay.
Finishing blow to kill the Mormook. Deal 1. And check, draw 4.
Forge for 6. 6. Say Untamed. Say Harmonia. The Unnatural. So Inspector, Rad Penny, and Centurion are living. Check at 7, draw 1.
That felt like a damage control turn.
Yep, I had to take that one, otherwise you win the game. 100%.
Yeah.
Least threatening of all of his Saurian cards he has out on the board. Good job, Theo. You did it.
Until the Ludo's out, and then I use the Explosion to capture everything.
Yeah, I mean, you pick your battles.
I will go dinos this turn, and you are correct. It would have basically been game winning at that point.
Yeah.
Wear the Eye, deal 23 damage to Harmonia.
Or Harmonia.
Play Faust, reap with Pharaoh. And that is my turn.
Forge for 6.
Draw 2.
Problem is, all my good shadows, or all my good Untamed is been used.
Yeah,
at
your
this point.
Untamed is gone, and a lot of your Logos filtering is gone.
Yep.
Which means that I'm up against a fair deck right now.
You mean a not unnerving deck. It's always a fair deck. I will say shadows and I'll Kymore. And then play Nancy and Selwyn. I know, like, 1 would have been, she would have gotten the message. With 1, she'd have just gone and lived elsewhere.
It's about making a statement.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Dis.
Yep.
Denominator bobble. Let's go. Fiend. Drekker. Pandemonium. Damage the Yancey game. And that's my turn. Draw 4.
Is damage taken or damage taken? in a fight?
Neighbors, the deal or take damage in a fight. So you do have to fight them to the team.
So shadows steal one. I will hawk your capture. Reap. Draw one. It is, Jonathan. This was captured from something else. I don't remember what, but something else captured that amber onto Theo. I forget.
Oh no, that was me.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, he's right.
Actually, you are right.
Alright, let's go Dis. Drekker will reap and steal my amber back.
Yep. He's the meta Saurian creature. He does what he wants.
Let's see. Lyco will fight the Fleece, so skirmish.
Yep.
Bobble, Thero will fight Yancey Gang. Takes 4. Rabble, Fistakrog. And pass turn. Take a peek here.
Play logos. Play Seismo Entangler. Play Dicenia. Play Twin Bolt. To deal 2 damage to Centurion and 2 damage to Hystricog. Play Eddie.
I may be wrong, but it appears you're in a pickle.
I have been in a pickle since you played 5 Saurian creatures the first turn. I am well pickled at this time.
Well, you stopped the turn 4 win, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think it is callback to Dis.
Did you see the thing where he fought and didn't die?
He fought a 5 power thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, he captured one on the fight. That's what he should have done.
He did.
The Pandemonium would have captured one, and then the Theros on the fight captured one. But it's no difference now because he's dead.
Okay.
So.
Sure.
So it is Dis. Drekker is going to do his job and reap and steal.
Yeah.
The Lyco Fiend is going to kill the Yeti.
Such a good hand. Exactly the things that I wanted at the end of the deck.
So because he reshuffled, that means that he can get the mimicry. So I'm having to think, what's the worst case scenario? He also has the key charge unaccounted for. I guess I'm just going to reap out. So reap for 3. Go to 9. And I believe that's it, yeah.
Wheel. Say logos. That is not what I wanted to see.
He did have the mimicry. He did have the
That is
key
true,
charge.
That is true.
Yeah.
I needed logos to
Hit while
wormhole,
wormhole.
basically. Yeah.
And that does it. A creature deck with 2 draw icons as the efficiency has taken out a deck with, what was it, 10 archive draw filter cards
Yeah.
because of some scary
I should've fought
dinos.
there, especially with the amber that was supposed to have been there.
Yep.
But
But that's always a tough call for a deck that's light on creature control. Do you use your action to fight something, or
yeah.
do you just try and move on?
Well, it moved on because of where it was at. But
Yeah.
hard to say.
However, there is something for you.
Is there?
If you remember, I asked you circle or hexagon.
Okay.
A drink coaster that is a tide card.
It is a tide card. You mean a tide card that is a drink coaster?
Whichever you want it to be. Do you play more Keyforge or do you have more drinks?
I don't know.
But that is yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And now
And
for
now we
the-
run away real quick before you can steal my belt.
So, let this be a lesson to everyone. Play your decks, especially before you believe they're not good, because this deck was sold off for a unbelievably low price. 25 euros plus I think it balanced out to like $8 or so split shipping.
Yeah.
And it had a 4-0 record with no chains, meaning that he already won an event with it that was not a chain bound. And he just didn't trust the deck, I didn't think about the deck when it arrived for 3 months, and then I played it, and it is in my top 3 for overall general Archon matchups. So, play your decks, people. There's good ones, and you don't know they're good until you do it.
Yep. Like this one is Fair Hand is a deck that everyone says is real bad, including Sass. Obviously, you disagree, and I disagree.
70s mean that your deck has the tools to do. The question is, what do your tools do together?
Yeah.
And in Pixie's case, it has 10 Dinos creatures, which means sometimes you just play 5 Dino creatures.
Yeah.
And 5 creatures wins the game in 3 turns.
Yeah. Especially when your opponent doesn't have the one card he needs to. Yeah.
So, earlier we talked about zoomies in the roll 2, where you're more likely to hit cards that matter for you.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happens when your creature count is higher.
Sure.
When you have a high creature count, when you take a turn of 4 cards, if you have 10 plus creatures, they're all going to be creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 creatures wins the game in 6 turns.
Sure, yeah.
And when people see 4 creatures and they have reap effects or effects on the field,
They're
more incentivized to try and deal with that, which slows them down.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of creature houses out there, and I think that's what people call the main house decks. But a main house deck doesn't necessarily just mean you're just trying to call that one house.
You do not have Fair Hand's case. You've been demoted back to your case, my friend.
Would you like one?
No, I have a blue one like this that
Okay.
I will put it back in.
So?
That my AOA deck that I like was using for now.
Now, to present the champion is home. How many defenses did Fairhand have?
2.
2?
Yeah.
So my goal is to get a minimum of 3 defenses.
Well, you have to beat Light Tasker's 27 or whatever that they had.
Oh, that don't count.
That don't count. Yeah, I played Mabluffin, which is a guy on my local scene. And then I played Zach Armstrong.
Yeah.
And then
I know.
the thing that came to pass, what Zach said, was he's going to get challenged by you immediately and lose the belt. It happened in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
It's just Zach didn't get to lose. I got to lose.
Yeah. It definitely was not easy to decide what deck to play. That's for sure. And as I said, in a best of 3,
a lot of thought into it.
in a best of 3 scenario, you're going to get something to occur.
Yeah, sure.
And
I
the
was almost there.
Yeah.
I think both games, but I just had to use my Untamed too early.
and that's the advantage of this deck because it does have those minor disruption cards.
Yeah.
And bouncing or getting rid of some archive effects allow me to buffer a turn somewhere in there.
Yep. So Chip just got to have it because I had to fly back from Texas too early.
Yeah,
The ones that have probably been yours already, David.
Oh, yeah. So Pixie has some decent matchups, but depending on which one Dave picks, it can be pretty bad pretty quick.
Yeah.
So who knows if it's going to go towards Texas or if we're going to do a local thing here in Georgia. As of right now, I'm terrorizing one store that we play at, and I'm 17-0.
Oh, gee.
So I may have a special local event of whoever beats me gets a belt.
That'd be fun.
So
Are you done?
that's
Yeah.
it.
He ran me out of here.
He ran you, so who got the belt?
Pixie.
Chip won.
Chip won?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chip won.
Congratulations, Chip! Way to go! Hey, you're my son! Oh, I'm so sorry, Curtis.
it's fine.
Oh,
It's-
you'll have
He
to
at
come
least got to walk
back.
away for prize.
Yes.
You'll have to come back.
I'll have to
So-
challenge next year maybe if you
Yeah.
still have it. Bring a different deck.
How about an even larger event? That's what we really need.
That's what we really need, yeah.
Have a special large event and see how many times it rotates in a day.
That'd be fun.
Well, what did you eat him up with? What did you?
Bunch
kill
of
him
dinos.
with? Dinos?
Yeah, just a bunch of dinosaurs decided to show up.
Dinos showed up and beat down my door.
Ah.
Yeah. So he was on a back foot because the dinos were just saying, "Hey, we're here. How you doing? You gonna
Not
deal
too
with us?"
good. I can feel a
couldn't-
pit in my stomach right now. Where'd you get those dinos?
I could not deal with them
Oh,
for
wow.
too long.
He did have a pretty good defense number though, so I have to top 2 defenses.
Yep.
So-
Justin has to update the site now too because Fairhand no longer owns it
Yep.
So how long did you have it?
since August. So
I was gonna say,
this
it's
is
just
the
couple
third
months.
time I played for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, 4th times I beat the person who had it, defended it twice, and then this game.
So who's gonna come after you?
Well, the champ decides his opponents, right?
Oh, you get to pick who you gonna play?
I'm unsure if I'm going to do a local event and try and get a whole bunch of people in at one time and see what happens, or if I'm going to do a one-on-one. So the wrestling style says it's more interesting for the champ to have a one-on-one and then go into a big brawl. But a big brawl may get some more people to show up and you end up with a bigger event.
I may almost drive down for that just to have fun.
Well, you got a place to stay.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime you're going down to Florida and you need a break, just call Chip and say I'm visiting my parents and I'm gonna break the trip up. And you're more than welcome.
Oh, thank you.
And the dinos can beat you up again.
Yes. They will haunt my dreams for, well, not my dreams, Fairhand's dreams for years to come.
So he gives you about 30 days and he calls up and says, you know what, I think I'm coming back.
Yeah, I'm coming down to Florida.
I'm gonna challenge you back for my belt.
No,
So,
I'm glad it gets to rotate around the community.
But it is kind of nice that it does.
It's a really
get
neat
to go.
idea, yeah.
yeah, it is. And if
There'll
I-
be another one eventually, I think, too. I think they're making another one for their current event that will eventually probably rotate around as well.
Yeah, that's the goal. I
They're
think-
going to have them fight each other for the ultimate belt or something. I don't know.
have 2 belts at once would be the real
That
goal
would be
there.
the real swag, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks guys for watching.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Are they still on?
Yeah, we're still on. About to end.
Well, okay, well, some